Well, I think it would be fair to say that my early season confidence is waning, particularly now we've played some of the top sides in the division. We've got one more of them today as we host Crystal Palace in a second of a doubleheader. It's the last two games before the November international break, and we really need to get back to picking up regular points. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 12 of this FM06 Let's Retro Save from Luton Town with me, Daniel. We are back today to face Plymouth and Palace in back-to-back home games, but the fixture congestion, the 3 games a week, and it's got to be said some poor decisions from individuals in matches is really starting to cost us. We've dropped to 5th in the league, which is not a disaster by any means, but our points per game return in recent weeks has been pretty pitiful, and we've lost a lot of matches. So if you're looking forward to seeing if we can bounce back today, 2 tough tests at home against deciding mid-table and at the top, then please do put a thumbs up on it. But for now, let's go and have a look at what's been happening here since you were last with me a number of weeks ago. Because if we go to Luton Town and look at the fixtures, it's been a wretched old run really. Yes, we've won a few games in there, it's not been terrible, but it's not been consistent. That's the problem. You were with me as we lost at home to Leicester. We asked, is that going to be the start of a poor run? Well, yes, it is. We've won 3 games since then and we've lost the rest. We're not picking up those draws we were last season. So those unbeaten runs are not sticking with us. And it's fair to say the clean sheets have dried up as well. We lost 1-0 to Blackburn in the League Cup with a rotated side. I wanted to focus on that top 6 push in the league. Unfortunately, we went out the cup with a bit of a whimper. We then didn't get any reward for it because we lost at home to Stoke and Andy O'Brien cost us the game. We were 1-0 up and comfortable after an hour. Then O'Brien got sent off just as he'd broken in ahead of Heikkinen, allowing them to turn it around with the penalty that resulted from the foul and a winner in the 90th minute against 10 men. We did get back into winning ways against Burnley. Eddie Johnson off the bench with a second after Richard Hughes had scored the opener for us. But unfortunately, defeated 1-0 at Sheffield United the following game put us into the international break in pretty poor form. We did come back with successive victories against Crewe, thanks to a Dean Morgan brace, and Sunderland, thanks to Howard and Feeney scoring. But the last 2 games have been a little bit trickier. Ipswich, armed with Theo Walcott on loan, tore us to shreds. You can see Joe Keenan had a very difficult day trying to deal with him. And then last time against Wolves, we went 1 up through Steve Howard, but it was turned around by Mark Kennedy scoring an absolute rocket. So unfortunately, we come into this one off back-to-back defeats. We've lost 3 of our last 5. We've lost 5 of our last 8. It's not the best form in the Championship, and it's not the sort of form that's going to keep us in the top 6. If we look at the league table, we're now 4 points clear of the edge of the playoffs, but we're also 4 off the top of the league, and we've lost 5 of our 16. We can start turning a few of those into draws. We might be able to look up again. But today, we face 15th place Plymouth, who with their game in hand, could be only 6 points behind us anyway. And then Crystal Palace, who are 1 place and 1 point above us. So let's see how we get on in the first of them. Plymouth at home is the match. And I've made a bit of a big decision today. Both Baraji and Newton have struggled in the last week or so. So I've dropped them both out and brought in Brunt and Edwards just to change up the wingers. Keenan's back in for Davis, who had a stinker when he came in and started. Also got injured again. And we also picked up a knock to Dean Morgan. So Enoch Shawunmi, back from his long-term injury, is on the bench for the second time in 3 games. It does mean we've got a strong bench because Baraji and Newton would be starters. Keenan Heikkinen would have been starters last year. Andy O'Brien is in at centre-half alongside Coyne. Keenan continues at left-back. And Hughes has made that centre midfield spot his own. A few players just 1 yellow from a suspension as well, though. We're going to have to be careful in this one. Don't want any of the stars missing out against Palace. Well, this is a very interesting Plymouth Argyle team. A mix of loads of experience and then a few teenagers. Goulbourne and Summerfield, the youngsters. But Byfield, Wootton, Perry, Pearce and Presley all over 30. And if you look at the right centre-half, Chris Perry, who went on to play for Luton, he's 5 for 8. And with Steve Howard against him, I'd fancy our chances. Feeney should have the pace on the whole back line. So let's get into the first half and hope that this is going to be a fruitful day. Maybe we should have gone for the quick wingers because Stephen Presley already in trouble down on that right-hand side. They must have injuries at right back because he's a centre-half. And Chris Brunt wins the free kick, which will be taken by Kevin Nichols. Options in the middle. Nichols delivers. Feeney's there first. and that's what we want. He's quick enough to get in front of Ian Pearce, and he makes amends with a third-minute goal to make up for some of those misses in the last week. 1-0 up already. I'm feeling better about this game. Hopefully, we can use it as a confidence builder. As we come back a few minutes later, Feeney again trying to get in behind Pearce. He's got him on toast, hasn't he? Pearce wins the challenge. Howard knocks it back to him. No, Feeney in for 2. Now we can start partying. We know the second game's going to be a test tonight, but this one looks like an easy one. What a result this has been, and what a backline they've picked for this game. Look at the bench as well. Anthony Barnes isn't going to be any younger, but he's a right back, which does make me surprised. Chris Brunt's picked up a yellow, just making sure it wasn't the centre midfielders who are one from a suspension, as Nichols plays a 1-2 with Howard, who releases Chris Brunt. Feeney's in the middle on a hat-trick already. He's there, and it's a great save by the keeper. Goldborn gets it away, but only as far as Joe Keenan. We are dominating this game. Brunt into Howard. Pearce with a challenge, does well. Nichols able to win it again. Keenan up towards Howard. Tries to win the flick on. Presley's already gone into centre-half with Perry moving right. Nichols has lost the ball to Summerfield, the youngster. Breaks away to Buzaki. The real bit of quality and magic in their team. He gives it away to Hughes, looking for the perfect ball. And with 20 gone, it's been, I think you would say, a pretty perfect start so far. Well, half an hour on the clock, and it's Kevin Foley with a throw on the right to Edwards. Cuts inside his man, delivers towards Howard. Just wide. Wondered if Feeney or Nichols could have got in at the back stick there. Not to be, though. It stays 2. And it's a goal kick for Plymouth, but we're still continuing the highlight. What's it going to lead to? Can we win it back? Andy O'Brien up. Finds Hughes and Feeney. Howard there again. Feeney's with him, but he switches right to Kevin Foley. And he goes down the line to Feeney, who's drifted wide into Steve Howard. Good challenge. Edwards back in again. Stephen Presley with a desperate last-ditch clearance. But all they're doing is clearing it to half-fly. And then we're starting again. O'Brien and Foley combining on the right. And we're just looking for the perfect ball. Foley's got options, but he just dallies in possession. And Wotton's able to win it back. Evans to Goulbourne. Last thing we want to do is give them a chance in a game we've been so dominant. But Grant closes the angle. Byfield puts it wide. And we're 2-0 up still with 10 to the break. And we're back at the other end just before half-time. Can we make it 3 and almost seal the day? As Keenan comes into the box. Unopposed. Shoots. Good save. Tipped away. And Capaldi puts it out for a throw. It's been about as comfortable a 45 minutes as we could have asked for. And at half-time, we've got to be thrilled with this outcome. We're going to tell the lads we're pleased. We want them to keep it up. But hopefully there's no room for complacency. If we can just get it comfortable. If I could take off Hughes and Nichols so they don't get a booking, that would be the dream scenario. Edwards has picked one up for us. But those ones don't matter so much. As Keenan throws in from the left towards Nichols. Flicks on, but Feeney won't get there. And Howard had dropped a bit too deep for some reason. Wotton into Evans. Shots blocked as far as Buzaki. He's closed down, but he's not got there quick enough. Grant able to get a hand away. Luke Summerfield on the rebound. Puts it wide, but not the best defending there. Little bit of a mix-up and almost gifted a goal back. We don't want to make this one nervy. Not when we're so much better than them. There's a throw on the left for Keenan. We'll look at subs in a minute. Third goal would make it lovely. Keenan finds Nichols. Chance to cross, deflects behind for a corner. Can we get that goal? Howard will be in there. You've got the 2 big centre-halves. Just give us the goal that wraps this one up. Brunt puts the cross in. Howard's up. Flicks on. Out for a goal kick. Just want to see if we can rest the midfielders. I'm not happy at 2-0 because they're still getting the odd chance. Though Brunt wins it back for Nichols. He's then lost it in midfield. Hughes goes in. Does well. Feeney can't make it. Goulbourne able to break away. Summerfield up towards the centre forwards. Byfield brings it down. Space to run into and shoot. We can deal with that all day. I'm going to take off one of the centre midfielders because I don't want to risk both being out. We're going to take Hughes off for Keane. And we're also going to take off Feeney, who's struggling, for Shawunmi. Or I could do Howard's. I think Feeney's the one in more trouble. Who's going to recover quicker? Natural fitness is terrible for Feeney. It's pretty good on Steve Howard's front. So we're going to go Shawunmi up front there. And then we'll give it 5 more. And if we're still 2 up, we'll take Nichols off for the final 15. Put Baraji left back and Keenan into centre mid. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that as Pearce fouls Shawunmi. Another bit of pace up front. Certainly not going to be looked at fondly by the Plymouth defence. Who's going to take it? I mean, they're in no rush, are they? It's been a really comfortable day. Ian Pearce has picked up a yellow. Shawunmi running at him. That'll be fun. Nichols with a chance to deliver the cross. In towards Howard. Just beyond him. Maverick gets there first. Could have been the opportunity as Perry at right back plays it back to the keeper. Long ball forward. Foley comes across but loses out. No idea why he's in there. Brizaki with the ball forward. Now we're out of shape. O'Brien can't make it. Evans wide to Goulburn. Foley's nowhere near his position. And we almost get caught out. Keane gets the ball away after a good save from Grant. But positionally, it's the one thing with Foley. And his positioning rating's fine. He just keeps getting caught out. And now Carlos Edwards, what are you doing? You're on a yellow card. You've been sent off for us before. Use this big thing between your ears, mate. Seriously. Howard loses the header in the box, but it's over the bar. And suddenly, I'm starting to feel a bit nervous in a game where I should have no worries whatsoever. Grant will take a long goal kick. Shawunmi's up there with Howard. Has the chance to flick on towards Edwards and does. On towards Keith Keane, who will chase Ian Pearce. We know who's got the pace, but Pearce does well. Uses his experience and clears. Only as far as Edwards, though, who's tackled by Foley. Not quite sure what's happening. Just looks a little disjointed. And Foley again has been caught out of position. He's not had his best game. Capaldi gets it into Wootton. Forward towards Byfield. Turns onto his right foot. Finds Evans. And it nearly is 2-1 again. I'm going to make another change. I'm not waiting. Who should come off here? Maybe it is the centre midfield area we're losing out. So I'm going to take Nichols off for Baraggi. Keenan will go in. I know it's a bit of a risk. But it does give us pace out wide as well. And hopefully we can see it out with 20 to go. But Foley, 17 for positioning. I've no idea what he's doing drifting inside. Well, heading towards the final 10, it has mercifully quietened down a bit. Baraggi, the sub, goes long towards Shawunmi. And that is one of the worst passes you'll ever see. He is guilty of them occasionally, as Big Enoch. As Zabrowski breaks down the right, Keenan's chasing him. Can't get there. The cross deflects to Summerfield, who's completely unmarked. And again, Keenan's drifted wide there when he should be playing centre mid. I've no idea what these boys are doing. Maybe they're just taking liberties because they're 2-0 up and comfortable. But it's going to cost us against better teams. As Baraggi gets the ball to Brunt. Blocked down the line by Barnes the sub. And Baraggi goes up towards Shawunmi again. Ian Pearce wins it. Zabrowski brings it down. And Barnes can break away to Evans. Don't look like keeping a clean sheet here. But Keith Keane does well to hold them up. Keenan loses the second ball. But Barnes will be there. He goes down the line to Good Johnson. Brunt intercepts. Baraggi gets on the end of a very poor back pass. And he puts it downfield. Shawunmi loses out. Capaldi down the line to Evans. Into Zabrowski. Could have a grandstand finish if this goes in. But it deflects and Lee Grant will save it. Does very well. We're 90 minutes gone. That should be game over. A very comprehensive win overall. Still a few moments of complacency. We deserve to win by 2-0. We got a couple of players a rest. Warren Feeney scored 2 goals. We prepared for the weekend in style, cementing our place in the playoffs. Now can we back it up in the second home game of the week when we face Palace on Saturday? Back in a minute to find out. Well, it's a big game in a promotion race. In fact, there's a couple during this match week. 54 for Luton Palace. We've also got Birmingham v Sheffield United, both of those in the top 6. But let's go ahead and look at who's fit for this weekend. We are close to having a couple of big decisions to make because Lee Grant, while doing pretty well this season, is a solid keeper, is being hunted down on the attribute front by Alan McGregor, who's training really well and becoming a very good keeper. So that might be a decision we have to make before too long. Maybe we get another big offer for Grant in January and then can make a decision. I don't know. The front two is definitely going to stay the same because poor Enoch isn't the same quality. The only real decision is what we do out wide. Edwards struggles when he starts 2 in a row. I'm going to stick with him on this occasion. I am, though, going to bring Baraggi back in for Chris Brunt on the left. I know he had a good game, but Brunt doesn't always perform consistently. The rest of the team, I think we're going to stick with. So that means today that we've only got, I think, 2 changes overall. Baraggi in on the left wing. In fact, that's the only one, isn't it? 1 change to the starting 11. Let's see how we perform. Well, it's a Palace team that, despite not going back up, have managed to hang on to Andy Johnson up front. He is an absolute stormer at this level. Not scoring as many as Warren Feeney, though, weirdly. And then Tom Sawes in midfield, a brilliant youngster in this game. And again, they've managed to keep hold of him. So it's a very difficult test for us. They've managed to bring in a few good defenders as well. They've signed Rob Green in goal from Norwich. They've got Billy Jones in from Crewe, who was always brilliant in this year's edition. So let's just see what the first half brings us. We've managed to avoid suspensions prior to today, but this is still going to be a difficult test as Keenan goes up against John Macken, loses the head up, but it's wide of the post. He did enough to survive the first couple of minutes. And we're back 10 later with Foley on the throw-in on the right-hand side. Playing a 1-2 with Richard Hughes, and it's up to Feeney to Edwards. Good football, that. Cross didn't have quite enough on it, though. Doesn't reach Howard, but Hughes wins it back for the skipper, Chris Coyne. He panics a little, aims a long one towards Howard. Headed away as far as Joe Keenan, and now the skipper's off injured. It is a good job we've got 3 top centre-halves this year, because we're going to need them now. Heikkinen is on, and we'll go back to right centre-half. Andy O'Brien will cover for Chris Coyne. Well, 26 on the clock. Been a little quiet. Game's just sort of calmed down after the injury, but Palace are back on the attack now with George McCartney. Leighton down the left to Macken. It's a very good save from Grant. Thought he'd snuck it in at the near post for a minute there. And now we're up the other end. How crucial could the save be? Because Baraggi finds Keenan in towards Richard Hughes. And his header's just over the bar. Not the classic target from those sort of crosses, but we'll take it if he's the one getting on the end of it. A very good player, and he's doing well for us as we've got a Kevin Nichols free kick, and that is an absolute pile driver. Normally when they go in, he's going round the wall, he's going far corner. This time, just drills it into the near side. He's a great set piece taker, he's a brilliant leader, and today, is he going to be the match winner? He's certainly given us the lead early. Warren Feeney's picked up a knock as well, and so has one of the Palace players. Might be. It's not Andy Johnson, is it? It's Macken, I think, alongside him. As it's a long ball forward towards Soares on the right. Keenan goes up with him but loses out. Here's Aki Riolati, finds Soares again. Foley intercepts the through ball. Howard can break now to Feeney. Might have to come off with injury, but he's through at the minute. McCartney's closing him but can't stop him. Forces him a little wide, but doesn't stop a beautiful finish. Dinked over the keeper into the far corner. And Warren Feeney, with a classic counter-attack, again threaded through by Steve Howard brilliantly, has put us 2-0 up. He scored again. And he's doing everything that Andy Johnson's attributes promise he would. Incidentally, the FM09 save I'm playing at the minute, we will see a fair bit of Andy Johnson, as Richard Hughes almost makes it 3. Tipped over the bar by Rob Green. Outswinging corner for Joe Keenan. Into that front post, O'Brien just misses it. Going for the glancing blow. But at half-time, we're 2 up. Not been as comfortable as a game as the Plymouth one, but we've certainly taken our chances, haven't we? Let's say we're pleased with the performance and hope we can keep it up. Well, Palace on the attack early in the second half. We know they're going to come back out. They will have been absolutely berated in the dressing room. The hairdryer treatment will have been there, and they've got an early corner. Are they going to put us to the sword? They're still more than capable of getting a couple of goals here. I'm sure they'll have firepower on the bench too. As Heikkinen heads away, Hughes will chase. It's gone out of play, which I'll deal with. Just looking at the substitutes there, as Steve Howard's got injured as well. It can't just be a nice day at the office, can it? Shawunmi's coming on, but if that injury's bad, given that Morgan's out as well, I know we've got Eddie Johnson, but we might have to go in the loan window again. Shawunmi's going to get 40 minutes. He's not quite the same threat, bless him, as an aerial target man. He has got that pace in behind, which might help if Palace are throwing numbers forward. As Andy Johnson's up, Foley does brilliantly. Not sure what Lee Grant was doing, but great from the right back. As McCartney goes down the line to Andy Johnson. Foley deals with him again. Brilliant. McCartney gets it again, though. Foley's in again. Clearance is deflected, though. John Macken's in. It's over the bar. Got unfortunate the third time. Not sure you can call that an error in commentary. We've only got 1 sub remaining because of the 2 injuries, so I'm going to have to be careful with how we utilise them here. As Jarvis gets in behind, Heikkinen will chase, does really well. Grant clears down the left to Baraggi. Falls for O'Brien, who gives it to Richard Hughes, and he looks long for Shawunmi. This is the bit that Howard can't do. He can't quite keep it in. Lovely attempt at finding the outball, though. And with an hour gone, we're pleased with the efforts, but I am concerned by the injuries and the lack of replacements left. As Dayton gets it on the left-hand side. It's not really what you want in a 3-game match week to not have subs for fatigued players. And really, Feeney would have come off, though he's in now. Behind McCartney, can he finish this one? Across to Shawunmi. Why are you unselfish? You're about the top scorer in the division. Just put it in the back of the net. Enoch's not scored a goal all year. You've got to take your chance there. As Shawunmi picks it up again. Back to Joe Keenan on the left-hand side. Baraggi's down the line if he can find him. Shawunmi's making a run too. Feeney's in the middle. Shawunmi goes alone. If Feeney's there. Feeney's shot saved. Edwards on the rebound challenged. Brilliant from Rob Green in goal. You've got to say down that left. Shawunmi, Baraggi and Keenan. They've combined beautifully. Feeney is really struggling and I'm worried because he's going on international duty. I can't do anything about it as Nichols takes a quick free kick. Oh, they weren't set up and he's tried to outdo them. Not quite worked out. We'll look at subs in a minute. There's 15 to go. If anything, Palace look to be tiring more. Here's Andy Johnson, who's picked up a knock. Surprise, surprise. Soares gets down the left-hand side and Jarvis breaks in. And that's the problem with the star players getting injured. Heikkinen's a good player, but he's made a stupid mistake. And a penalty could gift them away back in. McCartney steps up, saved, and on the rebound, and the third time. Lee Grant is going nowhere. He heard me say McGregor's getting close, and he has responded. Triple save from the penalty. That is outstanding, Lee Grant. Absolutely outstanding. Heikkinen wins the challenge against Johnson. We're going to have to make the last change in a second. Morrison breaks down the left. He's come on and looked a threat. Heikkinen's in again with him. Lee Grant mops up. Superb goalkeeping performance. And we carry on. He's going to aim towards Enoch. I think it might be Carlos Edwards, the final sub. He looked to be struggling the most, apart from Feeney. Foley again is running all over the shop. I don't know what he's doing. But Heikkinen this time has made amends and saved him. Let's have a look at the bench. Yeah, Edwards is a long way behind the rest, isn't he? So I'm not going to go Newton. I'm going to go young Keith Keane. Nichols has picked up a suspension. He's going to miss the next league match. But Keane just gives us a bit more solidity on the right as we look to see out the last 4 minutes plus stoppage time. Edwards has put in a good shift. He's done all right the last couple of games. With 4 minutes added on, Lee Grant and Warren Feeney, the heroes again. A very good performance. Back-to-back 2-0 wins and clean sheets. And we are now, surely, back up in with a closing range at the top two. How bad are the injuries though? Steve Howard, 3 weeks to a month. Chris Coyne the same. And Lee Grant is man of the match, unsurprisingly. We'll miss Steve, but I feel we've got adequate cover. Got a lie to give people confidence. We're up to second in the championship. Wolves have got 2 games in hand though, so let's not get overexcited. It's still though been a very good weekend, a decent start to the season. But I do wonder now, looking at when we get back from the international break, we've got probably 4 or 5 games in quick succession. In fact, no, they're only 1 a week for the first few. I thought there were more than that. So maybe we can get by without making the changes in the squad. We should have Dean Morgan back by then as well. So we'll try and get by if there's no more injuries. If there are, we'll dip into the loan market. I'll of course let you know what happens on that front when we return next time out. We'll be back on Monday as we continue this save every weekday at 4:30. If you enjoyed this one, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Let me know where on earth you think we finished this year. And do you think we've got the quality to go and attack the Premier League eventually? Everyone's tied down to a new deal except Morgan. We're doing pretty well on the pitch. And Lee Grant has produced the heroics when we needed it most. We'll be back at some point. You can see Birmingham at top of the league. We've got a couple of other good sides there, Norwich as well. So we'll find a double header. I think Birmingham and Pompey, 2 in 3 days, probably looks like the one over Christmas, doesn't it? I'll see you here for that. If you want to make sure you don't miss any of the action, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. Back on Monday and every weekday next week at 4:30. Chuck a thumbs up if you're enjoying the save. Let me know how your nostalgic FM trips are going. And I'll see you back here on Monday as we face 2 of the relegated sides. And hopefully we'll still be in the promotion mix.